Well, what do you think, Judy?
I think we should get started. It looks like it's the top of the hour.
You're in charge.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to our Saturday morning webinar. My name is Judy Feldhausen, and I'm co-hosting today with my good friend, Bob Wischmeier, and we're going to talk about our leadership development webinar series, and we're on chapter 11. Can you believe it, Bob?
It's been 11 weeks. Imagine that.
Yeah, it's actually been 11 months.
I mean, 11 months, not 11 weeks. Woo! Yeah, 11 months.
So we've been working on this for almost a year now, and I hope that the people that have looked at the last 10 chapters with us have gained as much as we have just talking about these laws and what John Maxwell has written in his book. And so everyone on this webinar knows we are actually taking poetic license of this. So we're talking about John Maxwell's laws, but we're also talking about our interpretation of it. So if you expect to get a clean, pure rehearsal of John Maxwell and his laws, it's not going to be us, because Bob and I have our own life experiences to bring to the table. And you know, really every chapter is becoming one of my favorites, and the law of the inner circle is really no difference, and it really brings to head that we really have to have people around us and support us and work with us and stay in life throughout our journey of business and personal.
You know, that's exactly right, Judy. And I think the thought that came to my mind as you were sharing that just now is that we do tend to preach from the pulpit of memory, but that's a good thing. And so it's kind of we're going to give three people's interpretation here of the inner circle and this particular law and how important it is. We're going to hear John Maxwell, Judy Feldhausen, and Bob Wischmeier. So, yeah, so it's all good.
It is all good. And if anyone has any questions, of course, during our presentation, please go ahead and ask them. And if Dan, you could mute everyone because there is some feedback. I'd appreciate it. Don't mute Bob and me, though.
Well, I have a feeling it's coming through Bob's because everyone else is muted.
Really?
Yeah, I don't get the feedback when you talk, Bob, but when Judy talks, and that we get the feedback. So it's most likely coming for some reason through your system.
Should I do something different?
Not that I know of. So unless while Judy's talking, if you want to mute yourself and then unmute yourself when you need to talk, that might help.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So we want to start with really as Bob was talking about when we were discussing this chapter, is about getting our inner circle on and off the bus, and the changes of the people that are closest to us that really support and help us. Did you want to talk about that, Bob?
Yeah, I'd love to do. Thanks, Judy. You know, there are a lot of heroes in my life, and I think it's the same for all of us, but I was thinking of St. Francis of Assisi and how much I have loved him and the work that he did, his ministry, and Mother Teresa and how much I've loved her. And she made the comment, and I'll quote her, she said, "You can do what I cannot do, and I can do what you cannot do. Together, we can do great things." And I love that idea, that principle, that thought that, you know, I can't do everything, but together we can. And it's a beautiful thing. I had kind of an interesting experience earlier this week. I saw a picture of John and Bobby Kennedy together. When I was a little kid, I think I was in the 5th grade or maybe the 6th grade when John Kennedy was assassinated. And, you know, we were just kids at the time, but we all loved President Kennedy. We thought the world of him. And when I saw that picture of he and his brother Bobby, who he, in his administration, Bobby was his attorney general, I instantly thought about that bond and connection those two men had together. You know, John Kennedy is elected president, and he brings into his inner circle his brother, who he loved, admired, and they worked together. They were inseparable. I thought about another presidency when Ronald Reagan went into office all those years ago, and how he pulled into his administration the brightest minds that he could find to help him in his administration. And I come back to Jim Collins, who wrote this wonderful book called Good to Great. And I'm not sure how many of you have had an opportunity to read Good to Great, but if you haven't, I recommend that you get a copy of it. I gave copies of that book to my adult sons years ago. But in his book, Good to Great, Jim Collins talks a great deal about how important it is to get the right people on the bus. And once you've got them on the bus, figure out what seat they ought to be in. And again, it gets back, you know, it's just a bit of a metaphor, but it gets back to that idea that when you're creating your business and a business opportunity, you want to try to pull the best people you can in and around you. And in the kind of business that we're involved in a network marketing business, you know, we really can pretty much decide who we want to have as a distributor and maybe some people that we want to work with, but not so much some other people. You know, there are a lot of folks that I've been involved with through the years that I like okay, but I don't want to have to work with them directly. So I really wouldn't want to pull them into my distributorship and then have to work with them. Some people just kind of suck the energy right out of the room. Leaders need people who have strengths where they don't have. And it made me think, Judy, and I'm going to wax on a little bit here for a couple of minutes. Years ago, I worked, and of course I'm old enough that I've had more than one career. And I worked for a number of years, 13, 14 years as an operations director for an LTL freight company out of Missoula, Montana. We covered all of western Montana. It was a big deal. I mean, we had a lot of drivers, a lot of trucks, a lot of stuff going on. And about the 13th or 14th year of doing that, and I loved the job. I totally enjoyed what I did. It was great. And but we sold company. The guy that I'd worked for all those years had an opportunity to sell his truck line to a bigger company. And of course, part of that package was that I had to come on board with the new company that bought us out as their foreman. I did it. I had to have a job, and so I went with the new company, etc. But I was not a happy camper, to be honest with you. I didn't care for the company that bought us out, but I was there. Well, one day I lived in Hamilton, Montana, and I stopped in. I can't remember exactly what. We had refinanced the house or something. Anyway, I was at the title company in Hamilton, Montana. The owner of the company, Ken Wisher, and I were taking care of some things, and I'd known Ken for years. But when I walked into his office, it was a lovely office. It was quiet in there. Couldn't hardly hear anything. Quiet. Everyone was just at their desks working away. And in the freight business, it's really noisy and busy and constant movement and noise. And anyway, I got done with this, taking care of some business. And I said to Ken, just kind of in passing, almost as a joke, I said, this is so nice in here. If you ever need hire somebody, let me know, would you? And it was just kind of a flippant thing. And he said to me, "Are you serious?" And then I kind of took a step back and I said, "Well, yeah, I think I am." And he said, "How soon can you come to work?" And I said, "Ken, I don't know anything at all about the title business." And he said, "That's good. I can teach you." And then he said an interesting thing. He said, "You're just the person I need to bring into my business today. Whether you know anything about title insurance, any of this stuff or not, you're the guy I need to bring into my company right now." I said, well, I got to make X amount of money. You've got it. I need this much time off for vacation. You've got it. He wanted me in his business. And I took advantage of that. And I came into his business just a short time later. The point is that there was a need within that office to bring someone in to that inner circle in that title insurance office like me. He needed someone who was calm and happy, if you will. And Ken recognized that in me early on. He wanted me in his business. He knew right where to put me. He says, I'll train you how to do all this stuff. And within a very short time, I mean, I had it nailed. I totally enjoyed what I was doing there. And I like paperwork. I like working with maps and all that kind of stuff. So it worked out really well. The point being that some of his employees were not happy. There was some tension and turmoil. They're way behind on things. And Ken saw that, brought me into that inner circle. And it made all the difference in the world. He was intentional in what he was doing there that day. I'll never forget that. And I worked for Ken then for about 7 years after that, before I started up with my Synergy business. So, Judy, that's my thoughts with regard to getting the right people on the bus.
Well, and that's so true, Bob, that being intentional on creating your inner circle is important, because you have to have some qualities in the people that that you want in your inner circle, because your integrity, your ethics are different than a lot of other people's in the world, right? And we want some of that in those people that we have in our inner circle. So we really have to look at the potential of the people that are wanting to come into our inner circle. And, you know, there have been people in Synergy that wanted to join my team that I actually referred to other people, because I knew that they would not be a good fit for me. Their potential is so important.
Well, also part of that too, Judy, is there have been times when I have been involved with someone who wanted to join Synergy worldwide, and my thought process was, this person would fit better with someone else besides me. There's that too. I had a couple of different times where I've had individuals with a Hispanic background, and rather than pull them into my organization, I've had them contact David Munoz, because I felt like as a Synergy distributor, if I wanted to be the best sponsor that I could be, he would have been a better sponsor for that individual. So we look at that as well as we're forming or creating our business. It isn't just about me, it's about the whole team, about everybody. Judy?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And for the leader to be able to recognize that is very important. And it makes us stronger leaders if we know who to get on and off the bus. Because some people, it's not just about putting them in the right seats. It's about, really opening the door and allowing them on the bus.
Well, Sam, I was muted. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So we really do have to raise up the right people. And John Maxwell has 5 different things that he talks about on who is the right people in your inner circle.
I think that's who are the right people.
Yes, who are.
Let's get the grammar straight here.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the cough in my head.
It's all good.
So the first person is, do they have the potential value of being on your team? And are they going to be, are you going to be able to motivate them? Are they self-starters? What kind of person, what kind of potential do they have? I have wonderful people on my team, and I love them all. And when they join the team, they don't know everything about Synergy. They don't know everything about talking about the product, and sometimes they don't know even how to talk to people at the beginning, but they have the value, they have the potential of being able to do that and the heart to do it. And I know for my team, that's what one of the things that I look at is really, where is their desire, where is their want and their why when they start. It makes such a difference. So the value makes a difference. Isn't that true?
Well, it is true. And as you were sharing that, I thought about how many times through the years I've said to people, you may not know everything there is to know about pro-arginine plus and nitric oxide therapy. You may not know everything there is to know about microbiome, gut health, or whatever the case may be. You may not know everything there is to know about the comp plan, but you know enough. You know enough to go ahead and speak out and to talk to people, because you've got other people above you, ahead of you, who can help you, who can step in there and make up the difference for you. Get a little bit background. It sounds like somebody's watching TV in the background there. But anyway, the point being that, if you have an individual who has that potential value, whether they know everything about the company or not really doesn't matter. They know enough, and you can help them, guide them, and move them forward in the right direction, Judy. Thanks.
That is so true. And the next thing, positive value, that John Maxwell talks about is exactly what that gentleman, why he looked for you, to raise up the morale in the organization. Someone that really has that positive attitude and looks at the glass half full, not half empty, and the ability to stay positive, and no matter what's going on. And we always say in network marketing, you never complain to the people in your organization. It's just not done. We always look at the positive part. It does not mean that everything is perfect, because it is not. But when there is something to complain about, you complain about it to the people above you that can do something about it, that can actually make a change, or at least inform you why it's that way. So having that potential value, raising the morale in the team is so important.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly right. You don't ever want to complain to people below you. I've been in the farming and ranching business pretty much all of my life, and I had a orchard in Montana. I've got a small orchard here, and you take a basket full of apples. Seriously, I know this is kind of an old adage, but if there's a bad apple in there, it's going to affect the other apples that are in there. You got to pull those bad apples out. You just don't want to have an apple that's getting moldy in a bushel basket full of good apples. You take them out. You just have to. And it's the same thing here. One individual in your organization who's kicking the dirt is going to have an effect on everybody. So being positive is hugely important in our business, especially, Judy.
It really is. And the next thing is personal value. And, it's about our team supporting us also. And it's so wonderful when, you go out in the field and you're there to support your team. I love to travel, which many of you know, and to be there and have the support of our team members that watch out for you and take care of you and really raise you up as the leader in your organization. Sometimes it's really humbling for that to happen, because having a solid supporter on your team is one of the best things ever. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, as you said that just now, I was thinking about a phone call I got yesterday. I think probably most of the people on this call know Bobby and Janice Smith. They're great people, live down in Arizona. And Janice has gone through some tough times this last year or so, with her mom being really sick, surgeries, and her dad dying, and it's been a challenge. But yesterday I got a call from Bobby, and we were on the phone for over an hour, we talked about everything, personal things, life things. And then we talked about business, and there's some things that they're looking to do with Synergy going forward. And he needed a little bit of, some advice and some counsel with regard to that. But Bobby and Janice always brought great personal value to our company. He's probably one of the best speakers I've ever heard before. And no one is more influential than Janice Smith. When she's on a roll, she is something else. She just brings great value just because of who she is. She brings that value to the table. So wonderful members of our organization. A little quiet lately, but we're going to take care of that shortly, Judy.
Oh, I can't wait, because she's such a good friend of mine too. We have so much fun when we're together. I just love being with her.
Yeah, she's like the ultimate positive individual. She looks the part. She's smart as a whip, but it's been a tough year for those guys. Not on a personal level. I don't mean that. I just mean that with all of the illness with their parents and stuff, it's been tough. But
sure, absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so next, John Maxwell talks about production value. And when I think of production value, he talks about raising up other people. But, we also have to look at, are people really going to do the work? It's great to be supported, and it's great to have those people around you, but this is a business, and we do want people to do what they came into Synergy for, which really, when you get down to it, is to make money. And so as leaders, we need to support them in doing that and help them with being able to sell the product and guide them through all the changes and additions and deletions in our product line, but to raise up our inner circle and to have those people then raise up others in their inner circle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Excuse me. One of the things that we need to do as Synergy distributors ourselves, we need to figure out when we're talking to somebody, they're interested in our products or whatever, we need to determine right away what the expectation is from that individual. We've got to read that in the people that we're working with. What are they looking for? Do they just want to buy some product? Because if they just want to buy some product, they want to give us some money and get some product and use the product. That's what they want to do. But we need to be able to determine if they want to take that to another step. If they want to create a home-based business, how do we pursue that as a sponsor? We can talk to them about potential, the different ways that you can make money with Synergy worldwide, but we don't want to overstress that, because making money in a network marketing business takes a lot of work, and we need to make sure that we're honest with people when we talk to them. Do they want to look for the tax breaks that you can get by having a home-based business, that kind of a thing? So their production value, we need to kind of get a sense or a feel for that as we begin talking to people about our Synergy businesses, kind of up front. Do they want to be a customer, or do they want to create a business? And if they want to create a business, how do we help them to create that business so that they can be profitable, so that there can be some production that's going on there to raise up everybody's volume from month to month? Judy?
Yes, that's so true. And the last thing that John Maxwell talks about is proven value. And now here we're talking about inner circle. So when we're looking at a distributor to bring them into our team, we don't necessarily have to have them have that experience, that knowledge, that success behind their belts, because we want to help develop that and bring them into our inner circle. And as they do, as we bring people into our inner circle, then they develop their own inner circles, which could be their downline, and they can raise up other people. John Maxwell says that the greatest value to any leader is someone who can raise up other leaders. And that process goes all the way through our downline. And as that happens, your organization becomes stronger and stronger, because we can't do all the work. I can still remember one of my mentors saying, I would rather do 1% work and have 99 helpers do the other 99% than do 99% of the work myself. And that really is the basis of network marketing. So bringing those people into our inner circle and training them to become leaders themselves so that they can take over your burden.
It's interesting, Judy, that when I went to work for the title company all those years ago, their back office area, which is where all of the research is done, the plat books, the maps, all of those kinds of things, it was basically in turmoil. And I have a little bit of an obsessive compulsive part of me anyway. I just dove into that, and I enjoyed it. And 7 years later, the back office ran like a well-oiled machine, right? Well, the guy who sponsored me into Synergy Worldwide, he was aware of that. He had seen that. He'd been to my home, and he saw that the things that I had done at my home. And when he did, and saw the value of the work that I had done, he wanted me to come join his company. It was in 2008, the subprime mortgage industry collapsed, the stock market collapsed, and you can imagine what would happen in a title insurance company when that occurs. People stop buying properties. There'll be a few refinances and things like that carry the day for a little while, but the work started to slow way down at the title company. And at that very moment in time, Synergy Worldwide came into my life, a highly respected at that time distributor comes along, sees the value that I have, and says, hey, why don't you come to work for me and help me organize my new business? Timing was perfect, and I jumped on it. And so proven value in an individual plays a really major role in this. Again, we get back to getting the right people on the bus. If there are individuals out there who have value, who can do things, get things done, and stay organized, we want to get those people into our business. And so that's what happened with me. It was a great thing for me. And I'm looking at these handprints here, and Augmandina would refer to this as the hand of God, if you will, that we see the hand of God in a lot of the things that happen in our lives that are major, important things. And I see that in my life with the changes I've made. So yeah, what a great, and we're kind of running out of time here, you guys. But one thing I wanted to share, Judy, is that we've read a lot of John Maxwell's information. And when I got to this particular chapter in the Law of the Inner Circle, although I appreciate the information here, I did have a little bit of a struggle. This was not my favorite chapter. And the people on the call with us today don't know this, but you and I have two different copies of the book. I've got a revised copy, and it's different than Judy's copy. Okay, so it's a little bit different information in my book than in her book. And when I went through my information, the first part of the chapter had to do with something that I didn't want to talk about, quite frankly. And so I haven't. I just left it out completely because I wasn't comfortable with it. But the rest of the chapter, very, very good. So yeah, this inner circle, the value of this inner circle, is just so important in our business. So Judy, back to you.
Yes, and thank you, Bob, for not mentioning that. And one of the things that we can't forget is that once you have an inner circle, it is not stagnant. It has movement because people come in and out of our lives, and we have to keep improving it all the time because we all are growing and changing and learning throughout our lives. So we need to always continue to improve our inner circle. And I put this particular picture up because it has a lot of meaning for me. This is a painting that my daughter did. And to me, it does evoke change, the picture itself. But more important is that it didn't start out as this. It started out entirely different, with different colors, a different look. It was not the, I see this as sky and water. It was not that at all. There was a lot of green in it. And she just kept working on it and working on it and changing and bringing in other colors and different kinds of brush strokes, and created this painting. And so it's that change and that improvement that we must all do with our own inner circles to just continue to grow and change and learn. Wouldn't you agree, Bob?
I guess it helps if I unmute, right?
Yes. Yes.
No, I totally agree. And so anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. But you're right. We never want to stop improving our inner circle. There are so many wonderful people in the world today. And if we're looking at the people that we're working with the closest, and if it's not working for us for one reason or another, we need to stop and make an adjustment. That happened to me with my Synergy business. My sponsor, who brought me into the business, and I owe him a great deal, but there came a time where I couldn't work with him any longer. That's just how it was. I just couldn't. I don't need to get into that, but I had to make an adjustment there, and that's when I started helping Dana Orch with his business. So sometimes we do need to, in order to improve, we need to stop, take a good look, make some adjustments, and then keep moving forward. So Judy, that's all I've got for this morning. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, and thank you, Bob, for having us. Do we have any questions out there that, any explanations or comments about today's webinar?
I think they're all in awe, don't you think?
Well, they're probably all on mute.
Maybe so.
It's Donald. I'm one of those people who is in awe, but just to make a comment, Judy, you raised a point about getting on the bus, and I experienced that, if I might share, in my anxiety to take the product into Barbados. I introduced an individual, and he went to some person whom I was trying to get on board for a long time. It was a pharmaceutical company, and the individual, they made contact right away, and then the brother remembered that I was the person who wanted to bring him first on board. He is the chemist. And so he asked, the question became, should he sign up with me or the individual? And I remember distinctly telling my friend that he should go with the individual, because for a number of reasons, he was in Barbados, who can be there to hold his hand, and I'll support him and stuff like that. And I mean, it has turned out to be pretty good. I should add that I might have taken my hand off a little early, but it was quite an experience in letting go. I mean, this was some person that I wanted to be involved, and naturally I struggled with the decision, but I made the correct decision in allowing them to go with the individual, and I haven't regretted making that decision. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I wasn't familiar with the book at that time. So this is an awesome book. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, Don. And that is so true. Some of the times you for many reasons, don't want to put people on the bus. And it all boils down to what your integrity is and your responsibility to other people. And kudos to you for making that difficult decision, which turned out to be the correct one.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Donald. You know, next month, we're going to be moving forward, talking about the law of empowerment. Only secure leaders give power to others. We're going to talk about delegation next time, and so we're looking forward to that. So thank you guys for joining us. Any other questions, thoughts? No? Judy, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well,
We'll
thank
see
you
you
very much
next
as
week.
well. Yeah, thank you very much as well.
You're
All right.
welcome. Thank you,
All right,
everybody.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day.